What's going on, guys? This is the Going for Two podcast with Jansen and Hunter, episode number 8. Going to dive into some week 3 college football, some results. I'm going to talk about what we think about this upcoming week. I'm your host, Hunter Waldrop, and this is my co-host, Jansen Jasperson. Jansen, how we doing today, buddy?
Doing great, man. Like you said, we got a lot of good football this weekend, like normal, what we were expecting. We always expect good football when college football season's around. Some things that we didn't think would happen happened. And, man, just shout out to my Washington Huskies, man, for getting the job done. I mean, I know you trash talk me all the time. Oh, the Washington Huskies aren't anything, but they're my
They're definitely
UT,
exceeding my expectations.
they're my UTSA Roadrunners, man.
Yeah,
Like,
hey, man, the Roadrunners are on suspension right now. They pulled the bag for me this past weekend against Texas. It's okay. It's whatever, man.
hey, man, but it's Texas. But we'll get into that. But yeah, ready to dive into this week. We got a lot of good games this weekend and a lot of question marks that have been answered for us most definitely this past week. And I think that from this point on, we kind of know how teams are looking and how they're starting to develop. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
well, you ready? Let's dive
Yes,
on
sir.
in.
Let's get right into it, my man.
So if you aren't yet, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Going for Two podcast with Jansen and Hunter. Make sure you like and leave a comment for us. And then if you aren't yet, make sure that you are following our Twitter at going_for2. Hunter and I will get on there and we'll tweet out tweets throughout the day of games that we're watching and things that we've talked about on the podcast and
Even
whatnot.
though, even though we were slacking this weekend, and
We were slacking this
trust
weekend
me,
for sure.
we were told that we were slacking. So we promise we will get our act together to all of our.
Shout out Big John Waldrop.
Yeah, shout out Big John. He let us have it for not tweeting out, but
Hey, man.
hey, he's good people. He's holding us accountable, and I'm here for
Exactly.
it.
I
So,
like it.
yes,
I
sir.
like it. But all right, you ready to dive in?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So, week 3, honestly, like there wasn't a whole lot of surprise. I mean, there's some shockers here and there, no big upsets. So we didn't really have a game of the week to review, but we do have a game of the week for this upcoming week that we're gonna solely just individually preview by itself instead. So we're just gonna talk about our thoughts of these games we talked about last week for the preview. The first being the Oklahoma Sooners traveled into Lincoln, Nebraska, and absolutely mopped the floor with the Scott Frostless Nebraska team. Um, Man, Nebraska came out. I always remember I was sitting in the stands at Williams-Brice Stadium in South Carolina watching Georgia play, and I got a notification on my phone because I ended up taking Oklahoma minus 11 and a half, and it was like Nebraska first drive went right down the field, scored 7. I was like, oh gosh, I need to be on the lookout. And after that, they gave up 49 unanswered to Oklahoma and scored a garbage time touchdown at the end. Brent Venables looks like he's getting his stuff together over there at Oklahoma.
I agree.
Dylan Gabriel, he looks legit, and he showed off his legs a little bit too, which I really like to see. The defense is stepping up like we said they would after Lincoln Riley's departure. So, I mean, the future for Oklahoma bright, the future for Nebraska not.
Not
They
so
need to make
bright.
the right hire. It's not going to be Urban Meyer. Anybody that thinks it's going to be Urban Meyer, you're delusional. The only job that man would take is Notre Dame or USC. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about that.
Man, but I don't know because I mean, I think Urban Meyer would fit great at Nebraska, but because I remember I remember that he told Trevor Lawrence one time when he was in Jacksonville that coaching in the NFL and coaching in college are just light years difference. He told Trevor Lawrence that it's like playing Alabama every week.
Yeah, that's why I know he was not a good
That's
fit for
why
the
he was such a
Jags.
bad coach. Because I mean, we know how good Alabama is, and how come? I mean, not the top guys on Bama's team are the ones that are going to go to the NFL. But other than that, like most of them aren't. There's a handful of them that will, and there's a lot of them that won't. So I think that Urban Meyer would be great at Nebraska, but I don't know with his history and everything. I just don't see it happening.
I don't either. That defense is abysmal.
Yeah,
They're terrible. They are
But
terrible. Anthony Grant, their running back's pretty solid, and I think
yeah,
Casey Thompson's got talent. He's just way too inconsistent. I think
I think so too.
Oklahoma just exploited their weaknesses, and I think Oklahoma could be a true contender.
I
So
think
I'm
so
really
too. I
excited for
think
that Red River shootout against
I
Texas.
think Brent Venables has got that team headed in the right direction for sure. With his defensive coaching that he had, his defensive coaching background that he has, I really do think that he has gotten this Oklahoma defense looking absolutely outstanding. And I mean, Dylan Gabriel showed me this weekend why he is the starting quarterback at Oklahoma. I didn't know he could move like that. I didn't know he could make plays. I didn't know he was a big playmaker like he did this weekend. But I mean, it's Nebraska. I mean, it's kind of hard to judge how good a team is when you go out and you lose to Georgia. When this team goes out and they lose to Georgia Southern, it just
But you
doesn't
know
make
what? When you're a team like Oklahoma who's trying to show you're a contender, and you're playing a team like Nebraska who's obviously in total rebuild dumpster fire mode, you're supposed to go out and put out a result like this. So
no, yeah, for sure,
yeah,
for sure,
not a whole lot left to say about that one. That was
yeah,
just a beat down.
yeah.
BYU went on the road to Eugene, Oregon, and got absolutely handed. They got whooped up and down the field. The score does not dictate how close this game was. It was 38-7 going into the fourth quarter. And then I think the backups got to come in and play. Bo Nix looked pretty good. He was showing off his arm. This is the type of stuff is if he could stay consistent, Oregon would be a real threat. And I think Oregon's showing how good they really are. I mean, and I think this also shows how good Georgia is too. I
I think
mean,
so. Yeah,
BYU is ranked
I
number
think so too.
12, and Oregon mopped the floor with them. And I think everybody was saying, "Oh, Oregon's bad," but then they're like, "Oh, Oregon's good." Well, what does that make Georgia? Georgia looks really good with this
Georgia
Oregon
looks
team as
absolutely
well.
outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing with Oregon is they always start slow. And I think that's what they're doing this year. And I really do think that they're starting to click on all cylinders and starting to get the hang of things and starting to get the groove and play good football. And I mean, Oregon's known for that. Oregon's always known for rocky start and then having a good midseason and then finishing rocky. But I mean, I think that this Oregon team definitely does have potential to finish maybe
Top
even
15.
top 15. Yeah. Top of their
Mm-hmm.
conference, top 15. I think they have potential, but I mean, it's Oregon. We just don't know. They could crap the bed like they normally do. But
Yeah, if Oregon can stay consistent, they're going to be really good.
yeah,
Or good for Pac-12 standards. BYU. I think they're not a bad team. They're a bunch of 25 and 26-year-old, 25, 26-year-old kids out there. But I think the scheduling is what's going to end up killing them. They respect them for scheduling hard opponents like Oregon and Baylor and Arkansas this year. But when you schedule two physical teams like Baylor and Baylor and Oregon back to back, I think it wore out on them. And traveling to Oregon, I think it all just played a factor in them not playing very well. So,
I think so too.
yep.
Like they have some serious gonads for all the teams that they want to play this year. But I mean, props to them. I mean, you only get better when you face tough opponents like that, in my opinion. Because if
Yeah.
you're just playing doormats every week, I mean, you're not getting better. You're not seeing any real competition. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think BYU is ranked perfectly to where they are. But, I mean, losing to Oregon does impact your standings for sure after the start that Oregon had. But, I mean, it is in Eugene, Oregon, and you were expected – they were –
Yeah, Oregon was favored by 3.5 points.
yeah. You were expected to lose that game. So, I mean, it happens. It's
It
college
happens, yeah.
football.
The next game we have is Penn State Auburn, and I think this was the biggest surprise of the weekend.
I think it was too. Auburn looks absolutely terrible.
Their offense is non-existent, and usually the defensive playmakers they have to make up for a bad offense are just they're non-existent as well. I thought this game was going to be close. The line was only at 3 points in Penn State's favor, and they just said, "Here's your 3 points, and we'll just put up 41 and only allow 12." That true freshman running back for Penn State's going to be legit. I think them establishing their ground game and having confidence in running the ball allowed for Sean Clifford to be more confident when he had to throw the ball downfield, and it let just everything was more smooth. TJ Finley's terrible. I know they put in their backup at the end. He didn't do a whole lot.
My
Penn
question
State,
is why don't they play Zach Calzada?
from what I've heard, he's dealing with injuries and he just hasn't looked good in practice.
okay.
But I think after this loss, I think it's pretty confirmed that Brian Harsin will not be the coach at Auburn next
No.
year. They will go find somebody else. He's done, especially he might get fired after this week if they lose to Missouri. They're 14-point favorites this week they're playing at home against Missouri, I believe. But if they lose that game, then he's fired after
you can
this week.
kiss him goodbye.
But he's getting fired regardless, whether it's just a matter of when, not if.
I mean, I think it's freaking crazy. You have Penn State come into Jordan O'Hare, and you lose 41-12.
Jordan Hare. I got corrected on that this week as well. It's called Jordan Hare. Shout out Big Rod Thomas for that one. So.
But I mean, 41-12. Come on, man. You're making the SEC look bad.
Yeah, I mean the Big Ten. This is their Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Super Bowl. But hey, Penn State, things are looking bright, especially for the future with a little bit. They got some young players. I also got some veterans out there. Very well balanced team. This is a huge win for James Franklin. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a threat for Ohio State here in a few weeks. And they actually go on the road to Michigan this year. So that'll be a good game as well.
That will be a good game.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if they win one of those two. So
I wouldn't be surprised either. But.
Yeah, future bright for Penn State, future not so bright for Auburn.
Exactly.
Texas A&M and Miami.
Man. A&M needed that. They needed that. They looked like crap the entire game until the fourth quarter.
They look like the same Texas A&M team. I think the difference in this game was just that their defense. And I said it last week.
I think their quarterback was a little better than Haynes King.
I think
Max Johnson played a little bit better than Haynes King did last week.
Yeah, I agree with that. Max Johnson's I think he's good enough to keep you in the game. I don't know if he's a big enough playmaker to win you big games.
Yeah.
And I know that I know this is probably considered a big game for them or whatnot. But Miami, man, you got to learn to get in the end zone. And we talked about it. Their offense has just looked so slow. And you could not start slow against this A&M defense. You could not do it. And because if you started slow, I didn't see any way that they could just all of a sudden pick it up. And they didn't. Tyler Van Dyke, I think he didn't play spectacular, but he played good. And the receivers, they're young, not making big plays. They couldn't run the ball. And like I said, the A&M defense is going to be the X factor. I think A&M was playing the same ball. I don't know if they'll score more than 21 points against a big team this year. But
my thing is like, yeah, their defense is good, holding Miami to only 9 points. But when you have a quarterback like Max Johnson, he's not going to win you big games against Bama. And I think even this week against Arkansas, like I really do think that they have their hands full with Arkansas.
We'll get
to that. After what Arkansas showed me this week, I wouldn't be surprised if A&M beats them. They're like I've been saying all year, their defense has just not. Like I don't think Arkansas's defense. If their defense was better, I think that they'd easily take care of A&M. But
we'll talk about more. I have my thoughts on that.
Yeah,
that's going to be our preview game of the week. So
yeah.
Well,
Georgia, South Carolina.
Hang on, let me just show it off for the one time. Thanks, Dad, for this Christmas gift last year. Sick hoodie. Yeah, Georgia just rolled right into Columbia, South Carolina, and they made them like it. They made them like it, man. Brock Bowers had 5 receptions, 125 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. He ran the ball once for a 5-yard touchdown on a little reverse play. Stetson Bennett looks legit. If he's not in your Heisman conversation, you need to reevaluate yourself.
You need to open your eye. Yeah, you need to go to the eye doctor because
I said I would buy this line up to 31.5. They would have covered that. Or 31. They won by 30. Yeah, they won by 31.
I was just mad they didn't get the shutout.
They won by, first time Georgia has let up a touchdown this year. And it was in garbage time. They were pulling fans out of the stands to go play DB for them.
Fourth quarter, yeah.
So shout out to Luke Doty, who had more passing touchdowns than Spencer Rattler did. The Georgia defense, yeah, the pass rush might not be the same, but that secondary is
That
legit.
secondary is
They're
insane.
just as good as they were. They might be better than they were last year.
I think their secondary is for sure better than they were last year. But
Um,
I think, man, no defense is going to be better than the defense Georgia had last year, man. Like, that was.
but here's the difference. This is what I was telling my friends this weekend. Stetson has never started a season where he knew it was his team. He
Yeah.
didn't have that confidence. He's a little, always second guessing himself last year. He was so skittish. This year he's rolling into it. He's just playing ball. And the defense doesn't have to be like they were last year when you have an offense that can do what they're doing right now. They
I
kind
just
of
want to
each
say
other
that,
out.
like you were saying about Stetson Bennett and the Heisman conversation, like, he hasn't played a fourth quarter all season, and he's third in the SEC of passing yards. Like, if that doesn't open your eye and tell you, like, okay, yeah, this guy is actually a contender, then I don't know what will. Because when Georgia starts playing teams like Kentucky and Tennessee, and like, he's going to play all four quarters no matter what. And
Excuse me.
I mean, if he keeps playing like the way he is, I don't know, man. Like, I really do think he could win the Heisman. I just don't know who would win it over him. I don't know who's playing better ball than he is.
Yeah, I don't either. And when you
Numbers wise, I mean, Will Rogers is, but I mean, look what he did this week against LSU.
yeah,
But
I mean, I just think if there's any Alabama fans out there right now, just listen to me say this. Georgia's not coming for Bama. Bama's coming for Georgia.
oh yeah,
Georgia
so
is
too.
separating themselves from Alabama. I'm not saying Bama's not good, but Georgia's just separating themselves from everybody. I think the drop off is just getting bigger and bigger.
I think so too.
And we'll see here in a few weeks, during the grind of the season. But I'm excited, man. I like seeing, high scoring games like this for the Dogs. It's honestly
Me too.
boring to watch after halftime. But hey, I'll take a win. I'll take a big win. If we can win every game like this, I'm never going to complain. So
Yeah, neither am I.
how about them Dogs, baby? All right. Well,
How about them Huskies, baby?
God, here we go.
How about them Huskies? Man, I told y'all Washington needed this first statement game. They needed to show everybody that they're the real deal. And I think that their passing game is so elite that Michigan State just couldn't hold them. Like, I mean, as you see, they won by 11, and that was my favorite bet of the week, and they secured my bag. But yeah, man, like I was saying, don't count out Washington because their quarterback, their passing game is absolutely elite. But I mean, it is Michigan State. Michigan State hasn't really been that hot this year. But I mean, I still think that's a big win when they're, number 11 in the country, and you host them at home, and then you knock them off by 11 points. 11 points still is a big win to beat a team that's in the
This
top.
score does not dictate how bad Washington mopped the floor with them.
No.
This does not indicate it at all. This game was never close. And I talked about it last week. I said if Washington wants to win this game, they like to air it out, and they're going to have to throw it deep. And that's exactly what they did. They got
They
separation.
took the top off this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Michigan State, I mean, last year they were dead last in, yards given up, 130th worst secondary in the nation in passing yards. And it showed that they're still there. I mean, that there's really not been a whole lot of improvement. This was their first true test, and a team that likes to air it out. And Michael Penix Jr. gave him the work. Former Indiana quarterback. He's showing what he's got. He's a lefty gunslinger. Washington might give Oregon a run for their money in the North. Now, I know it's the best two overall records that make the Pac-12 championship game, but I wouldn't roll them out. They're playing pretty solid ball. If they can keep this up, they're going to be a threat in the Pac-12. They're 14-point favorites this week against Stanford, so we'll see how that goes.
Mississippi State, LSU. I'll let you cover that.
All right.
Because, I thought Mississippi State was just going to wipe them clean, but I guess Brian Kelly's got LSU shit together finally. Oh,
yeah.
Excuse my language, but
that's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just gotten back to Georgia, and we sat down to a Mexican restaurant, and this game was on, and Mississippi State was running the ball. down the throat. And that's going to sound crazy. Yes, Mississippi State was running the ball very well against LSU, and they were winning pretty good at halftime. I can't remember the score exactly, and I was like, "Oh, this game's going to be wraps if you know Mississippi State's going to continue to run the ball like this." And LSU came out in the second half. I got back home and I looked at the score and I was like, "What?" Yeah, LSU in the second half. Jane Daniels probably the best game he's ever had in his college career, including his time at Arizona State. Was throwing the ball well, using his legs like we saw against Florida State. If Brian Kelly can keep this up, he might not get fired
Nope.
anytime soon. I think this is a win that they needed. They needed
Him and
to
his
overcome
family will be
it.
sitting good in Baton Rouge.
That's good. That defense stepped up, stopped the air raid for Mississippi State. And they shut down the run too. So big win for LSU and Brian Kelly.
They needed
They
it.
got a big few weeks coming up here soon.
Yeah.
Playing Tennessee here in 2 weeks. So we'll see, man. Mississippi State, I'm not really surprised. I had them going 6-6. We said they were going to win games that they weren't supposed to and lose games they weren't supposed to. So this is
And this is
exhibit
just
A right
a
here.
point. This
Yeah.
is just proving our point.
But Will Rogers, I think he's going to be fine. Mike Leach and Bigfoot will be okay. It's just whatever. They might take forever for the air raid offense to get its stuff together in the SEC, but that's all right. So
I think it's all right too. NC State, Texas Tech. I mean, I'll go back to the Mississippi State LSU. Like I don't really have much to say because I really didn't watch this game. But all that I gotta say is the whole Will Rogers hype. You can't beat LSU, man. You're not. I mean, yeah, your numbers look good, but you must not be that big of a real deal if you can't beat LSU. That's all I got.
No, but like Will Rogers, his numbers are always going to probably look good because of how many times they throw the ball a game. So, I mean, they're definitely – I'm not going to rule Mississippi State out. I still think they can beat teams like Auburn. They can be on upset watch against like teams like A&M or whatnot. But
I think so too.
They're just going to be up and down, mediocre, inconsistent, all that good stuff.
I agree.
So, yeah, I'll let you talk about this, introduce this last game we have on here.
So NC State went into Lubbock this weekend and played Texas Tech, and they beat them 27-14. I think Texas Tech kind of was riding in on their high horse after beating Houston, which I don't think they should have at all. There was a lot of self-inflicted wounds on U of H that I think that's why Texas Tech beat U of H. But, I mean, you roll in this week and you have NC State rolling in this week, who is definitely a contender in their conference and definitely has a shot at winning their conference. And I think that was a statement game that if you really wanted to be viewed and as a top 25 team, you had to win. And I think they just fell short. And I think NC State looked pretty good. I mean, I didn't really watch too much of this game. I saw a couple highlights of the game, but I didn't really watch the full game because I expected NC State to do this. I expected NC State to come in and mop the floor with Texas Tech, but I wouldn't really say it was mopping of the floor. But I don't know, man. I think NC State looks good though.
I didn't really catch a whole lot of this game either. I mean, NC State, they're definitely middle of the road. I don't know if they're even really like talent-wise top 25. Devin Leary, I was really high on him coming into this season. He's just been mediocre, man, inconsistent.
Yeah.
I just don't even know what to think about him. Like, yeah, I think they're stuck at like 13, 14 now in the AP poll. I just don't know what to think of them yet. I need to see them play against Clemson and Wake Forest and teams like that in the ACC before I get a really good, judgment on them. But if Devin Leary doesn't step up and play like he was last year, then they're not going to be, all the hype that everybody thought that they were going to be as a dark horse to win the ACC this year. So.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But hey, a win's a win. I think the defense looked good from the clips I saw against, this Texas Tech team. Texas Tech, I'm still not that high on. I really just don't think. Yeah. I think once they start Big 12 play, it'll show their weaknesses or whatnot. Yeah,
they definitely have a big assignment this week facing Texas. So.
Oh yeah, they do. But they're at home. Watch out for the upset.
They are. They are. But
A banged up Texas team too. So,
yes, that is very true. All right, let's
but
get
yeah, that'll do
into
it
this
for.
upcoming week.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
let's do this week. So, like I said earlier, we didn't review an individual game from last week. So instead, we decided to do the Going for Two podcast game of the week, and we decided on Arkansas versus Texas A&M. Both these teams have looked really good, and both these teams have looked really bad. Arkansas is ranked 10th. They're playing in Jerry World, AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Texas A&M ranked 23rd. I still don't know if they should be ranked after losing to App State.
Yeah, I don't think they should.
Last week, Arkansas was losing the entire game to FCS opponent Missouri State,
Yeah.
and I could not believe it. Bobby Petrino came in there looking for absolute revenge on this Arkansas program. He almost got it. They pulled it out in the fourth quarter. It was way too close for comfort, man.
Yeah.
A&M, they came off with a very satisfying win against Miami, and they are 2.5-point favorites this week. Man, I'm very split on what I want to.
I am too. Here's my thing is like, I'm not sold on the A&M offense. So that's my thing that I think is like
excuse me,
kind of shaky about A&M is their offense isn't very good. And the thing that's shaky about Arkansas is their defense isn't very good. So I mean, this could either be an absolute blowout or it could be close. I think it's going to be close just because it's two SEC teams going at it, and when two SEC teams play in a neutral site like this, I think it tends to be very close. But I am going to absolutely hammer Arkansas money line. I'm not taking their plus 2.5. I really do think that Arkansas takes this game in Jerry World, and I'll give you a little reason why. We'll signs with Jersey Jerry for a minute. Jerry Jones is a graduate of Arkansas.
Yes, he is.
Jerry Jones gives more money to the University of Arkansas than any alumni that has ever graduated from the University of Arkansas. They have a building named after Jerry Jones. So with that being said, I think Arkansas goes into Jerry World, has a little bit of a
They did it last year. They did
has
it
a little
last
bit
year.
of an upside and a little bit of a whatchamacallit?
Advantage.
Yes, there we go. I couldn't think of the word. I think they have a little bit of an advantage because they have Jerry Jones on their side. But I mean, I think Arkansas gets the job done. I think the grass will be cut to Arkansas's length of the way they want it, and I think Arkansas comes in here and just shows A&M that they don't deserve to be in the top 25.
Like you talking about earlier, yes, the Arkansas defense is so shaky. The A&M offense is so shaky, and I think those two will cancel it out. I think this is going to be one between the trenches. Who wants it more? That's how these big games are won. They are won up front by the linemen and the front seven on defense. Man, I'm so torn. I'm going to take Arkansas plus 2.5. And if I had to choose a winner, I would choose Arkansas, but I'm just going to go with plus 2.5.
And one thing I want to say is Sam Pittman of Arkansas is 18-1 against the spread. Since being there, so I think
and the one loss with Georgia,
the one he lost is last week.
Oh yeah,
this past week to Missouri State because they didn't cover.
Well, I don't think they covered against Georgia last year either. Because I remember they played A&M.
Oh yeah. And then
they went on the road to Georgia
and they got absolutely horn swallowed by Georgia. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Arkansas, and I think as long as Bumper Pool and that linebacker core and that front seven can just step up, but also because I don't think A&M is going to be one to just air it out. So I'm not. The secondary is really not a huge concern to me, and I think Arkansas will do just enough on offense to pull out a win. But I think the 2.5's a good pick for Arkansas in this instance. But yeah, I don't. The reason why, man, I just don't think A&M's going to be one to give a threat to the secondary, and I think just Arkansas is going to find a way on offense. Just find a way because I think A&M's offense is just that bad, and Arkansas is just going to find a way.
My thing with A&M's offense is losing Isaiah Spiller
That's come back to bite them more than they thought they would.
has just absolutely torn apart your organization. Because last year, A&M leaned on Isaiah Spiller a lot of the time. You want to get good yardage, you hand Isaiah Spiller the rock, and he's going to give you good yardage. He's going to run guys over. He's going to make guys miss. And I really do think that A&M is missing that this year. And Arkansas's run offense is just absolutely.
They're going to line it up and
insane.
shove it down your throat.
Yeah.
On offense. And
They're
don't
gonna give
watch
Rocket
out for
Sanders the
play
ball, and he's
action,
just going to
too.
rocket it right down your freaking throat.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to have to lean Arkansas, but this is going to be one between the trenches. It's going to be a close, and I think
It's going to be a good game to watch for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the best game of the week, in my opinion.
I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah. But.
All right.
All
Well, we got
Let's
some more
move
games
into-
to talk about for week 4. Some of these lines, this is currently on Tuesday, so they are definitely going to change by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whenever somebody decides to take a look and want to throw some money or a friendly bet down, anything like that. So first game, the most overrated team in the country, number 5 Clemson, goes on the road to Wake Forest, who's ranked 21st, who literally almost lost to Liberty this past week. Both these teams do not look good. Wake Forest looked really good against Vandy. They did not look good against Liberty.
I think that's because it was Sam Hartman's first game of the season. He kind of wanted to come out and make a pop. And, I mean, he did, but
yeah, and then
they looked like trash last week.
Yeah, they did not look good. They won by 1 point because Liberty went for 2 instead of tying the game because, they had nothing to lose. I mean, why not go for 2 and try and get a win? I'm just going to go ahead and say it, man. Don't be surprised if come halftime or sometime during this week, Cade Klubnik is announced as the starting quarterback.
Starter for the Clemson Tigers. I mean, I really want that. I've been saying that a couple times. I've said that a couple times on the pod that I think if you start Cade Klubnik, you're definitely a playoff contender for sure in my eyes.
But then I think you'd be worthy of number 5 ranking, but until that happens, you're not ranked. You're not worthy of that.
No, DJU needs to send his behind to last chance U.
I'm just gonna go ahead and call it right now. DJ Uiagalelei, I tweeted this out after they played against Georgia Tech. He's gonna be the quarterback at UCLA next year.
More like last chance U.
He ain't that bad.
Nice.
So kind of like the game we just talked about with Arkansas A&M, I think this is going to be very similar. Wake Forest defense is terrible.
It's going to be brutal. It's going to be
Clemson's offense is terrible. Wake Forest offense is good, and Clemson's defense is good. Their front 7, their DBs are very questionable. So where do we go with this? I think everything kind of cancels each other out. I think there'll be more points scored in this game than the Arkansas A&M game. I think with Wake Forest being at home, I'm going to take them plus 7.5.
Me too. I'm going to take Wake plus 7.5 as well because I think you're going in to Wake's house and you're going to play Wake when you have DJU as your quarterback. I think that if DJU is their starting quarterback, I think that Wake Forest covers 7.5. But if Cade Klubnik is the starter for Clemson and plays most of the game, I think Clemson could cover 7.5 pretty easily.
Me too.
Yeah.
Even if he comes in at halftime, and
what's up?
Even if he comes in at halftime, I think they can cover a touchdown.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will maybe not maybe buy it down to 7, but I don't know about 7.5.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you basically got to win by you basically got to score and then kick a field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just so up in the air because everything cancels each other out. I don't know where to go. If Sam Hartman plays like he did against Vanderbilt, Wake Forest will win this game. I don't care if Cade Klubnik is at quarterback.
I agree.
Because, yes, he is better than DJU, but Clemson also doesn't have the playmakers on offense like they used to, man.
Yeah.
But if Sam Hartman plays like he did against Liberty, Clemson will cover
Clemson will come
7.5
in
even
and
with
wipe the floor with
DJU.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you just don't know. Both these teams are so inconsistent. They cancel each other out on both fronts. But I think the safest play right now would be to go Wake Forest plus 7.5.
I think so too.
All right. So now we can move on to where college game day is going. Tennessee, ranked number 11. Don't let that get to your head, Vols fans. It probably won't stay like that for too
Nah,
much
it
of a
won't.
year. They are hosting the number 20th ranked Florida Gators. Tennessee's defense stepped up against Pitt. They showed that the defense can win games. We know the offense is there. We're not worried about the offense.
No.
I guarantee you they will score on either, if not their first drive, they will score on the second drive. That's just they are very well scripted on their first 20 or so plays. And I think getting ahead like that is just I don't think they're ever going to look back if they get ahead. Anthony Richardson, yeah, you had all this Heisman talk, didn't even throw a touchdown pass against Utah, to my knowledge. Maybe he did. I don't think he did, though. I don't think he has a single touchdown pass this year.
No, he didn't throw a touchdown pass against Kentucky either.
And he didn't have one against USF last week. And
No.
Florida, I don't care if you got the win. That is a loss in my book. You kept it that close to USF. If their kicker,
USF is awful. You should have gone it. You should have just absolutely annihilated them.
if Florida played Utah right now, neutral site or in Utah, maybe even in Florida, I think Utah would win.
I think so too.
I think, but hey, good win for Florida. You won't be ranked in the top 25 after this because Tennessee's winning this game.
11 by 11. I think so too.
And I think Tennessee's going to cover. I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns. Like I said in the preview for the SEC, Florida's depth is going to come back to bite them in the rear end whenever they start SEC play.
Yeah.
And it's going to show. AR-15 is out of ammo. They can't get nothing hardly going on offense. And the talent's there. If he can play like he did against Utah, this game will be close. But I think his confidence is washed. I think Florida's kind of being like they're going into panic mode now. They just don't know what to do because they know they're not legit as they thought they were after that Week 1 win. I'm gonna take Tennessee. I'm gonna lay down the 11 with them. I think they can win this game by 2 touchdowns. I'm gonna probably buy it down to 10 or 9.
Yeah, I'll probably buy it down to 10. But I mean, if I would like it, probably all the way up to 13.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take it any more than that if the line changes this week.
And I think people are gonna start to look at Tennessee and probably bet on them. So anybody that take the 11 now while you can. But I'm probably gonna buy it down.
I'm gonna buy it down to 10,
or 9.5. So yep, we both got Tennessee.
Look what happened last week. You bought down. Who'd you buy down last week? And then they ended up winning by like 20.
Ole Miss. I bought them down from 16.5 to 13.5, and they shut out Georgia Tech 42-0. So there's that. I did buy down a lot. It's safer.
I mean, I buy down a lot too because I mean it is safe. And sometimes I buy down enough to where if I didn't, I would have lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go on to the next game on here. We got the Wisconsin Badgers traveling to Columbus, Ohio, to the Horseshoe to take on number 3 ranked Ohio State. Everybody knows how I feel about Wisconsin. If you watch the Big Ten preview, I do not think they are worthy. I don't think they're good. I think Graham Mertz is just not good at all. I think their offense is stuck in like 2012.
I mean, you lose to Washington State. I mean,
their defense is physical. I'll give them that, but you did lose to Washington State at home. We'll talk more about the Cougs here in a little bit. I just think the Ohio State offense is too high-powered. I think, like I said in the Big Ten preview, Jim Knowles, throughout the season, the defense is only going to continue to get better. Now, I was going to say holding Notre Dame to like 10 points or 13 points, whatever it was, that's really good. But
no.
Looking back on it in Week 4, that is like nothing to be proud of. So, but I am going to take the Buckeyes money line. I don't know. That something's a little sketchy about this game. I'm just going to play safe. I think 18 might be a little too much to lay down. So I think Ohio State take care of business, but I'm not going to lay down 18 points with them.
I mean, I think Ohio State should take care of business, but after last week, I think Wisconsin's really got to prove himself this week. So if I'm gonna play, which I'm probably not, because
I will not
I
be
don't
betting
like
on
any
this
of
game.
the
I don't
I
like
don't like
betting
to.
on Ohio State games.
Yeah, I probably won't touch it, but if I were to, I'd probably take Wisconsin's points plus 18.
Yeah, but
I
I'm
don't
just
think.
gonna pick Ohio State to win and call it a
Yeah,
day.
I'm gonna pick Ohio State to win, but Wisconsin to cover for sure.
I'll just put you down for Ohio State money line. But Ohio State should take care of business. Oh wow, we're rowing into the next game because we are rowing the boat. Man, I'm looking pretty good through 3 weeks right now. This Minnesota team is looking legit, like more legit by the week, and it's
Yeah,
exciting. I love seeing PJ Fleck do good. Big fan of him when he was at Western Michigan 2016. Michigan State, we just talked about how bad that secondary is and the defense just letting it up. Now, I do think this will be a different style of game, though. Minnesota's going on the road to East Lansing to take on the Spartans. So I think that's why the line's only at 2.5. I am going to take the Gophers minus 2.5.
me too.
I think Michigan State's beat up, and I don't know if they're going to be able to recover right away. I think Minnesota's hot. I think it'll be more run heavy. Muhammad Ibrahim is a legit running back.
Yeah,
He's better statistically right now than TreVeyon Henderson. I know TreVeyon's splitting carries or whatnot, but Mo Ibrahim's looking pretty good. I'm going to take the Gophers. I'm pretty confident they'll row the boat into East Lansing and take the win and be ranked in the top 25 after this week.
I think Minnesota definitely wins this game, but after last week, Michigan State losing to Washington, I think that Michigan State is going to play with everything they have to make it to
I think they will
not
too, but
lose
I think they're beat
back-to-back
up.
games. Say again?
I said I think they will too. I just think they're too beat up.
Yeah, I mean, I think Michigan State has to prove themselves this week if they want to just because losing back-to-back games to Washington and then Minnesota is definitely going to hurt you, and it's
Yeah.
definitely going to have people view you completely different. So I think that Michigan State really might have to get a win this week, but I do think Minnesota wins, but I'm not going to take their minus 2.5. I'm just going to take their money line.
Oh, I'm buying this down to a pick 'em.
Yeah. For like minus 180.
I might buy it down to a half a point.
Yeah.
Get a little bit better odds. But I definitely think I don't know, I made up my mind yet, but I definitely think I will be, taking the Gophers this week as a legit bet.
Well, if you buy it
Yeah.
down to a pick 'em, you might as well just take their money line.
Depends on what the odds are now.
Yeah, true. You're right.
But it's all about the odds, baby. Anyways, but I think just run the ball. I think they'll be more physical. They're riding the hot hand. I think Michigan State's a little beat up, but like you said, I think this is going to be the line's at 2.5 for a reason. It's going to be a close game. So,
Yeah, I think it's going to be close too, for sure.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, number 22, Texas, you broke my heart this past week, man. Oh, gosh. The Roadrunners. You were winning going into like almost halftime, or it was tied. You had them on the rope 17-7, and then blew it, ended up losing by 21. I think the final score is 41-20. That pick six at the end killed it, man. I had them plus 14.5. Man, that just hurts. I don't like seeing my Roadrunners do bad. But they are still good. They're going to do good in Conference USA play. I'm not worried.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to win the Conference USA for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
But Texas, hey, a lot of people were doubting you to not even cover the spread. You covered by more than a touchdown. Hudson Card, nobody knew if he was going to play or not. He ended up playing. He still looks like he's injured a little bit. And Texas Tech, a little bit bigger of a competition than UTSA probably. I don't know, though. UTSA would probably give Texas Tech a run for their money. I
think if you put Texas Tech and UTSA in a neutral site, UTSA beats them.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised by that out. I'm going to take Texas money line. I just don't know. I'm not confident enough to see how healthy Hudson Card is and
to take the 7, yeah.
Yeah,
the 6.5, yeah.
The 6.5. I'm just not all the way bought in on their health. If they were more healthy, especially if they had Quinn, this line would not be 6.5.
No, it would be like
it'd probably
13,
be 14
14.
to 15. Yeah. But yeah, I am going to take Texas to win. I think they will go into Lubbock and beat Texas Tech. We talked about Texas Tech just so inconsistent, and I think when they start playing Big 12 ball, it's going to show.
I think so too.
But Texas defense stepped up last week. If they can continue to step up while Quinn Ewers is down, they're going to be fine. They will have a legit chance to win the Big 12. If they play like they did against Alabama, that defense is going to be fine, and the team will be fine. But they just got to play. The defense has got to step up week in and week out in order for them if they want to have any long-term success.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to take Texas money line as well. I'm not going to take the 7 because it is in Lubbock. If it was in Austin, I would take the 6.5. I don't know why I keep saying 7.
It might as well be 7.
It might as well be 7, yeah. Because I mean, they got to win by 7 for it to hit. So
yeah,
going into, like you said, Texas Tech is very inconsistent. So I think that Texas Tech slips this one out or loses this one to
slips
Texas.
up and loses. Yeah, gotcha.
You know what I mean? I think they lose to Texas this week, and I would not be surprised if Texas wins by 7. But I'm gonna play it safe, and I'm gonna go with their money line.
Me as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's a game that I just like the last 3. Okay, these next 2, I should say at least. I just I don't know. There's not this where we run out a little bit of firepower, but Notre Dame, they are fun to talk about whenever they're losing. They're bad. Notre Dame is bad. They're down to their second string, maybe even possibly third string. Their offense is outdated. The common factor here, teams who are not updating their offenses like Alabama did, and like Georgia is right now and did last year, they're getting left behind. North Carolina, obviously, my God, they love to drop 50 points a game. Now North Carolina
be able to do it to this Notre Dame defense.
Oh yeah. North Carolina's defense might be terrible, but Notre Dame's offense is so bad, I don't think it even matters.
No.
Marcus Freeman's on the hot seat. They barely beat Cal. We talked about how them losing to Marshall. North Carolina's going to cover the 1.5 at home. I think they get the win.
I think so too.
Honestly, probably by 10 points. I just don't see Notre Dame's offense doing anything, even against this bad UNC defense.
I mean, they need a statement game, so this could be their game, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, and I just think Drake May is going to just light it up like he has
this quarter. Yeah, Drake May at UNC and this UNC offense, I think, is just going to steamroll Notre Dame. And Marcus Freeman is his seat's going to be red hot because if you lose another game after you lose to North Carolina, come on, North Carolina. You lose to North Carolina, your seat's going to be on fire, and they're going to be looking for somebody to replace you.
Hey, North Carolina's undefeated, man.
I know, but still,
man, we got 3 basketball schools on this graphic. I was not expecting that at any point during this season.
There's a college football podcast. I don't know why we're talking about college basketball.
That's all good. Anyways, we'll go on to the next game. We got Oregon. Kansas. We got Oregon versus Washington State. This line has moved. It was at 7.5 for Oregon. Now it's down to 6.5. Oregon is going into Pullman, Washington, which I think might be a little bit of a hostile environment. Whenever Washington State was good with Mike Leach there at the end of his tenure, that place got a little rocky, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch this game because I think this is a real Pac-12 kind of test for Oregon. Washington State went into Madison, Wisconsin, whooped up on the Badgers, kind of been under the radar. I would not be surprised. I'm going to take the Cougs plus 6.5 because they're playing at home. I think they can keep it within a touchdown. And I'm also just kind of taking into account that Bo Nix is going to be inconsistent. He had a really good game last week. He's about to play a terrible game this week. He's played back-to-back really good games.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going
to I think Oregon started the season off slow. That just shows you how good Georgia is this year.
Yeah.
I think that really – I think Oregon does win this game, and I do think they do cover 6.5. I'm going to take Oregon minus 6.5 because I really do think that they're playing really good ball right now. And if Bo Nix keeps doing what he does, I think they could easily take care of Washington State. But, I mean, it's Bo Nix, man. He may prove me wrong. And if he does, blow Nix for the rest of his life. Like, I'm never going to talk good about that man ever again because he's going to make me look like an idiot. But I have confidence in him. I think he will keep playing good ball like he has been these past couple weeks. And I think they take care of Washington State.
They should. They should be able to. But I don't know. It's at home. Look ahead spot maybe, or maybe they're too beat up from playing the Mormons. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Cougs plus 6.5 here. All right, man. If you had told me a month ago that Duke and Kansas would both be undefeated going into Week 4 playing each other, and Kansas actually kind of looks like a really good Big 12 team,
I would look at you like you.
I would ask you what you're smoking because you must be feeling really good. Okay, because holy crap, we're here. Duke is 3-0. Kansas is 3-0. Kansas beat Houston by 2 touchdowns.
A lot.
18 points.
A lot.
They beat West Virginia by 2 touchdowns. They've already played Big 12 ball.
Yep.
I mean, I'm taking the Jayhawks minus 7.5.
Me too. I'm taking the Jayhawks minus 7.5. Pack the booth.
But make it feel like 2007 for all those viewers out there.
Yes. Rock Chalk Jayhawk, baby. I'm taking them minus 7.5 too. I mean, I really don't have much to say because I haven't really watched Kansas because why would you watch Kansas football out of all schools? But like I said, Kansas is back, man. Kansas is back like the McRib, man.
In 2007, they're probably it's viewed as the most crazy college football season of all time. Kansas was ranked number 2 at one point in the season, folks.
And Missouri was number 1. Oh, how college football has changed.
Yeah, that was the year that Pat White and West Virginia almost won the Natty, and it ended up being a 2-loss LSU team playing Ohio State and winning the national championship. But besides the point, Kansas was number 2 at one point in 2007. I think they said it's the first time since 2009 Kansas has been favored against a Power 5 opponent. I think it's also the first time since 2009 or 8 or 7, somewhere in that 3-year range, that they started off 3-0. Jalen Daniels, their quarterback, he's kind of looking legit. He looked really good against Houston. I just never would have thought that would have ever crossed my mind. This whole thing is just still a culture shock to me. Hey, but shout out to the basketball schools, man.
Yeah, putting an impact in college football. We love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, they both made the Final Four this year. Kansas won the Natty. Maybe they can do it in football too. No, I'm just kidding. No. Reality will hit at some point.
Yeah, they'll play some real conference teams, and
man, would it be funny
get smacked
if they won this week and then the AP poll voters were like, man, we got to put Kansas in the top 25 just for the
I would love it.
That would be so funny.
But
I'm going to take the Jayhawks minus 7.5. That offense looks good.
As well.
Duke, they look good too, but I don't know. It's like, how can you not go with Kansas on this?
Yeah.
It's like you're kind of lame if you don't go with Kansas on
At this point, I'm really just – I mean, Duke and Kansas are not known for college football, and everybody knows that. So I'm just kind of – I'm enjoying it. And I go, okay, who would I root for in a basketball game?
Not Duke.
No, not Duke, because screw Coach K. Well, now he's gone. R.I.P. But
yeah,
I'm gonna take the Jayhawks, man. Maine.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Jayhawks too by at least a touchdown.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because that offense does look really good.
I'll probably buy it down to 6.5.
I'm glad. I'm liking where your mind's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But that's about it. Week 4, not a whole lot of firepower, but hey, there wasn't a lot in week 2, and we saw there was upset after upset. So you just never know what's going to happen. I'm excited for it. We got to be grateful, even though the slate might not be the best. We have to be grateful that we are living in the season of college football.
Exactly. Before we know it, we could be in the dog days of summer. We cannot have it.
That's
just
right.
Living off baseball, and we don't want that. Because baseball gets boring, man. But shout out to my Astros for for winning their division. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
That's
How
all
are your
good.
Braves doing?
They're one game back. Hey,
Hey,
I
one
don't
game
care.
back's not bad.
I don't care. They were at 12.5 or 14.5 games back at one point this year. They've narrowed it down. They're playing really good ball.
No, yeah, they
First
are.
90 win season in a minute. And they're just keep on rolling. They're playing the Nationals tonight. I know this isn't a baseball podcast, but hey, it's all good. I think we can give the Mets a run for their money. Even if we're first in the wild card, we can still make
Yeah,
a
no,
run.
y'all definitely have a shot, but
Yeah,
Dodgers look good, man.
they
But, I
should.
mean,
That powerhouse of a roster they got.
yeah. I mean, they
I
are
guess,
going to be good. They have freaking $5 billion players on their team.
yeah.
Roided
All
up,
right.
just
Back to ball.
back the ball. Yeah.
Any big or any like lines that you thought were just hey, anybody that
man.
wants to gamble this week, you take this line.
Hey, man,
What
you
are
know
you
me.
hammering this week?
You know me. Washington's playing Stanford. I'm taking Washington minus 14. I'm riding the Huskies wagon until the wheels fall off. So I'm going to take them minus 14. I don't know if I'll throw the absolute house on it and hammer it, but I know I'll definitely be playing that for sure. That'll probably be one of my favorite of the week. What about you?
Well, just like you, I'm riding the wheels of this wagon until they fall off because they just are covering machines right now. I know it's only been a few weeks, but they're legit. USC is going on the road to Oregon State. They are only 6.5-point favorites. Hammer it.
6.5-point favorites.
The Trojans will be taken. They will win that game by at least 2.5 touchdowns.
That's crazy. I don't know why the line's so low on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Vegas knows something we don't.
Screw it.
Yes, I y'all are gonna laugh when I say this. Another wagon that I'm gonna ride until the wheels fall off. Iowa. Okay, I don't
Under.
Yes, I'm taking their under. They're playing Rutgers this week. Okay.
Yep.
Right now, the unders
That
at
could be a cheeky
35.
little three-teamer right there.
The unders at 35 points. I don't care.
Hammer it.
Spencer Petras has a 7 QBR. And then
Dude's like 45.
yeah.
Yeah, he's old as hell.
Yeah, but just keep riding USC, keep riding the Iowa unders. My third favorite that I like this week is Maryland is playing Michigan. I think it's in the big house. Michigan's favored by 16.5. That line's a little high, maybe to some eyes.
Nah,
JJ McCarthy starting. Talia Tagovailoa is inconsistent. I'm taking Michigan. Those are my three hammers. Two other lines I like. Now these are doormat schools. But they're both undefeated against the spread this year. UNLV is playing Utah State. Utah State's looked really rough. They got shut out by Bama, obviously. They only won by 12 against UConn. UConn? Come on now. You're supposed to blow UConn out. I'm taking UNLV minus 3, probably buy it down to 1. I really like that. The Rebels have been playing pretty solid this year. They only lost by 7 points to Cal, but they take care of business in their other 2 games. Harrison Bailey from Marietta, Georgia is their quarterback. I remember he went to Tennessee, and then, after Jeremy Pruitt left, he left. And then this one might not be a popular pick, but I'm going to take James Madison, undefeated against the spread. They've been showing out. They have been showing out this year. They've been putting up a lot of points, showing that they're made for D1 FBS football. They're going on the road to Boone, North Carolina. They're playing App State. I'm taking James Madison plus 7.
I like it.
I think they're confident. They're going to keep proving people wrong.
Loss. They should have lost last week.
They should have lost last week. I think they're going to end up. They're due for a loss. And I think James Madison's just going to. They're just out there to prove people wrong, man. And App State, they've been getting a lot of media attention. So I'm going to take the Dukes, the James Madison Dukes plus 7 against App State.
I like it.
Those were my favorites. So
I like it.
But hey, take them now. They're going to change. All these
lines are going to move, guys. So
yeah,
early in the week, make sure you jump on the ones you like now. So, but
that's
anything else you want to
cover? No, man. No, I think we did a really good job covering everything. I know, like we said, slate might not be the best, but hey, we're going to enjoy it. We're going to have a good time. So I'm really excited for A&M Arkansas.
Me too, man. I think that's going to be the best game of the week for sure. 6:30, 7:30 your time, 6:30 mine.
Yep.
So, yeah, man,
Yes, sir.
I'm excited.
All right. If you want to pull up the social pages real quick, that'd be nice. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel whenever you're watching our videos. We're going to start working to try and get on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're going to work on that over the next few weeks, trying to figure it out. On Twitter, @going_for2, and we promise we will be more active this week.
Yes.
We'll be on there. One of us will do it, especially over the games we covered or anything else that pops out. We'll be better on that. But yeah, go follow us on Twitter. Leave a like, all that good stuff. Leave a comment on our videos. We greatly appreciate any and all comments, even if you want to tell us how stupid we are for having Kansas, covering. I don't know. Just something. If you want to tell us how we can improve the show. We greatly appreciate everything, and we appreciate every listener. Thank you all for your time. I'm your host, Hunter Waldrop. That's my co-host, Jansen. I hope y'all have a blessed day.
Thank y'all.